Joining us right now is former U.S. Attorney General Michael Mukasey. Judge, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks very much for having me.
Well, explain what you meant by what you wrote in the op-ed, because I, too, was watching Jim Comey yesterday, and the whole time watching him thinking he's going to one place, he's going to the indictment place, and then he takes a sharp left turn and says no charges, because everything he was saying, yes, negligence, you know, carelessness.
Gross negligence is, in fact, what he actually described. He said she was extremely careless. That's a definition of gross negligence, particularly when he described what kind of material she was dealing with. If you're walking down the street handling a piece of priceless crystal and you're balancing it on your hand, that's gross negligence.
Right. Where do you think things go from here?
Excellent question. I think that they haven't yet cleared up the question of whether the Clinton Foundation is still under investigation. I've got no idea where that goes. Obviously, the portions of yesterday's press conference just before he made his announcement are going to be cut up into little sound bites and turned into campaign spots for Donald Trump.
Yeah, Mayor Giuliani just made an interesting point a few minutes ago before you arrived. He was here and he said, look, Clinton meets with Loretta Lynch on, what, July 3rd. July 4th, we've got, or July 3rd, we've got the interview with Hillary Clinton and the FBI. And then by July 5th, we've got the report out from the FBI. So they turned around her interview in a day and a half and did a report on her? Or was his judgment made even before they interviewed her?
Well, it sounds to me, and this is speculation, but it sounds to me as if his judgment was made before, and that unless she said something enormously surprising at the interview, which she obviously wasn't going to do because she was there with several lawyers and has always been carefully scripted, unless she did that, he was going to go with what he went with yesterday.
The issue of intent is really what I want to get your take on, because that's what he was hiding behind. She didn't intend to break the law, I guess, Jim Comey was. Listen to what Mayor Giuliani said about that. He was just here talking about this, and he was shocked at the decision. Mayor Giuliani.
But let me tell you the circumstances. All of a sudden, Clinton meets her on an airplane, and their report comes out, what is it, 2 days after they interview her?
Right.
This report wasn't written before they interviewed her? What do they write this report on Sunday and Monday? I mean, they interviewed her on Saturday, and he makes his decision on Tuesday and has a report over to the Justice Department. So this had to have been set up in advance.
Wow.
He has to have known the decision that he was going to make.
What about the issue of intent, Judge?
There is no issue of intent under the statute, under either statute. He's talking about two separate laws. One says that if you show gross negligence in putting a classified material where it shouldn't be, then and it in the hands of somebody who shouldn't have it, that is a felony. Now, gross negligence is the only level of intent that you need, and what he described was gross negligence.
It almost sounded like he came out and was saying what should happen. I mean, as a former Attorney General, I mean, does it surprise you of the way he approached? It's not his job to say she's guilty or innocent,
That's correct.
Right?
It is not his job,
right.
And it is not his job to announce whether the thing is going to go forward or not. That disclosure of his recommendation, that recommendation, if it's made, and it's not made in all cases, but if it's made, it's supposed to take place in the context of a discussion with the DOJ prosecutors who are going to handle the case. Usually what the FBI does is to present facts to prosecutors, and most often they come in and say, hey, we think we got a case here. But they present the facts to the prosecutors. Prosecutors decide whether to go forward. The head of the FBI, even the head of the FBI, doesn't make that decision.
Yeah, it just seems to me that the way it all went down, I mean, for example, for that Clinton meeting with Loretta Lynch, as a former Attorney General, would you have taken the meeting? You see that someone who's under investigation, the husband is coming, wants to come onto your plane. What do?
You say no, and if for some reason you can't say no, you have staff present to take notes on what gets said at the meeting.
That's such an important point. You're right. Why wasn't there anybody else on that plane?
Who says there wasn't anybody else on that plane? She said her husband was on that plane, but she was traveling on government business. I'd like to know what staff were on that plane or were taken off that plane before the meeting took place.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. It's
I mean, I had staff who were there largely or often to tap me on the shoulder and say, don't do this. And those are the people you listen to.
you would think that she's got that around her. I mean, what kind of...
She's also got a protective detail of FBI agents. He has a protective detail of Secret Service agents. They don't even work for the same government department. So the notion that that somehow happened spontaneously is ridiculous.
Right. Ridiculous, and yet that's what they're saying. Do you think because of that meeting, things got accelerated and the word was to Jim Comey, you get this done?
Candidly,
Yeah.
I don't think that meeting in and of itself had anything to do with the result. That meeting was Bill Clinton being Bill Clinton, and I could give you a scatological analysis of what what was really going on.
What kind of pressure do you think Jim Comey is feeling or was feeling to get in front of that podium and say and basically clear her name?
Look, I can't get inside Jim Comey's head. I don't know what led him to do what he did, but he stepped way outside his job in disclosing the recommendation in that fashion. Now, whether he felt there was a deeper mission here or not is something that I have no idea.
I mean, maybe he just didn't want to get involved in the political process and knew that if he comes out and recommends charges, he just did.
I can analyze maybe if and so on, but it's all speculation.
Would a new Attorney General take up this case again, do you think? I mean, is this...
As a practical matter?
Yeah, as
No.
a practical matter.
No. This case? You
Yeah.
mean the emails?
Yeah.
As a practical matter? No. The Clinton Foundation is something else again, but not this case.
The foundation is still under investigation, but a lot of people feel like we're not going to get the results until after November, certainly.
That may very well be. The statement was made earlier on that the information isn't going to be disclosed under the Freedom of Information Act for a long time, but that doesn't say that the investigators don't have it.
Judge, good to see you.
Good to see you.
By the way, happy birthday to George W. Bush.
Yes, happy birthday to George W. Bush, indeed.
Yeah, and I know that
Great
you
man,
served...
and a person I really admired.
I know you do.
Still do.
Thank you so much, Judge. Good